Morning, everybody. Finally back. Feels like a century since I was here. Last Sunday, like I noted, it snowed and it wasn't really conducive to working on the truck. So I just kind of cleaned up in the shop. I did get the master cylinder rebuilt. That seems pretty good. I scrounged all the bolts I need to mount the engine in proper. But this is where she stands. Looks really good. Looks good, doesn't work. So I don't know if you can see that, but basically the transmission is almost completely balanced front to back. So next step, motor mounts, which should work just fine. I need to peek my head up under and see about where the transmission needs to be. I'll get under there and put the jack under it, get it where it needs to stay, and bolt, weld. Once that's all tacked together, I will pull the whole shebang out one more time, weld them for real, paint it up, then I'll bolt it all in for real. It looks pretty good. After that, I need to tackle the brakes. I don't know how that's going to go. I did order some brass plugs that are specific to the brake line fittings. Planned on putting one at the T where it goes to the rear, just eliminate that. And then I also need to put one in the clutch side of the master cylinder. But they got lost, as the USPS is wont to do these days for some reason. So I'm not sure if they're going to come or what the deal is, but I'm not going to be able to finish the brake system this week. But if I get the engine in, bolted up proper, all that's in place, and get these wheels off, get the front end off the ground, get the wheels off of it, and get the rotors off of it, that'll be a huge win. One really weird thing about working on this truck is how not corroded it is, which I know seems kind of weird given that the body is quite rotted, but it's not the kind of evil rot that like I have in my 94 that's due to Southwest Virginia winters and the really aggressive stuff. It's more just, I think, poor quality steel and humid environment, because the frame is beautiful. The frame is just golden. The frame could be sandblasted and painted and it could go into a show truck without any welding, which is a lot more than I can say for either of my GMT 400s. So I think it's nurture rather than nature, the difference. But anyway, the upshot is that fasteners tend to come loose pretty easily. Fasteners that have been in for, as far as I can tell, 55 years, just come right out, including the brake lines. Like both sides of the master cylinder just boop, just came right out. And I'm not talking about the line twisting off with the fitting and then have to replace everything. I'm saying they came apart the way they went together at the factory. So that's pretty exciting. It's nice to not work on an absolute POS occasionally. So, all right, she's in for real this time. Got the bell housing bolted up proper, got the mounts in, connected to the frame. I'm happy with the angle of the transmission and drive shaft. You'll notice the prop rod and the lack of springs on my hinges. That was a little bit of a snap decision yesterday. Weather was coming in and I wanted to put the hood on it, but the firewall is not so much at this point. So instead of trying to weld rust to rust, which is basically what it would have taken to reinforce it, my dad had expressed interest in the springs to spring load a swing or something. I don't know. So I popped the springs off, and we're just going to go with a prop from now on. So problem solved. My dad had a good point about the throttle. If I'm willing to get rid of the governor, which I think I might be, because all I have to do is grab the governor arm and get rid of this, the normal throttle control here. Get rid of that. Hook that to a nice strong tension spring. Keep the throttle closed. And then I can just come back here and put a second arm on my existing throttle pedal and a nice long piece of linkage, and wobbum, 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 wobbum. It's time to get a loud pedal going. I have the factory gas pedal deal here. Got a brick on the pedal itself in the cab, and I've got an extension here that will move it over and drop it down and shorten the arm on it a little bit. I put 2 holes in it just to give myself some options. I'm thinking I'm just going to put an adjustment screw in one of them and hook a cable to it, put a spring on the engine, and off we go. So should be pretty easy. He says. Very nice. Boom, 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 boom. I might end up having to put some kind of, I guess I will end up having to put some kind of hard stop on it, but I can calibrate that later on. Maybe I'll put an arm down here with a adjustment screw to adjust the top position. All right, another week, another winter storm. Yay. This week's variety is freezing rain, ice covering everything, pulling limbs out of the trees. But I won't be stopped. I haven't worked on this truck yet that it wasn't snowing or icing or freezing raining, so I don't really care. And we're gonna get after it. Plan today is to pull the rear wheels off, take a look at the condition of the rear brakes, and oh boy, I got no lights. Have I got electricity at all? That's going to be a bummer if I don't have power. Let me check that out. Be right back. Alright, so we're confirmed. The power is out for the entire road. Not that that really makes a big deal to me. I wouldn't mind having the impact wrench, but whatever. So my front end's a little more precarious than I like to screw around with, so I'm going to throw the front drums back on just loosely and stick the wheels on it with 2 lug nuts, and then I'm going to jack the rear up, pull both of those wheels off, pull the drums, make sure they freewheel first of all, but second, do my damnedest to salvage any parts I can off of there to use on the front, hopefully for a nice balmy warm reassembly process this afternoon. We'll see. I don't know. I really want to drive this thing, and that's the biggest thing between me and driving it. I've just got to make it roll, and I've got to make it stop. So that's the plan for today. Who knows how it's going to go. I'm about as winter geared up as I can be. I've got the canopy and the Yukon. I can at least get out of the rain for a few minutes. I think that's what we're going to be dealing with, so I might as well go ahead and get started. All right, so I figured might as well, I had the wheel off, might as well take the hub nut off of here and see if I can get the drum off. But no dice. I don't know if it's pressed on there or what. I still think the drum is separate from the hub. You can see machine marks in the hub in there, but I have beaten the absolute snot out of this, enough to break the drum, unfortunately, and it's going nowhere. Nothing has moved. So I might give it another whack or two on this end, but I don't think it's going to do any good. So I think it's rear wheel back on, and we're going to have to make do with the parts we already have or we can buy. So bummer is what it is. What that means, we're ready to roll. So several things going on. I've got a rod made for throttle linkage, and I need to make a little 1/4-20 adjustment rod to go into the piece on the cab. I'm gonna weld some nuts on it, flare it out, drill a hole in it to connect to the linkage, and that's going to be it, besides a spring, which I don't necessarily even need, if I'm honest, and I'm not even sure where it's going to go. But that'll be that. Also, let's see, where's my stuff? I've got 3 of these fittings ready to be welded. Plug my system up, so I should be able to pour some oil in the thing before too long here. So I'm going to go ahead and get on that, see if I can get the plugs made and installed, maybe make my little 1/4-20 adjustment thing, and that'll be that. Got the 3 brake line plugs made, and they are on the truck, and if they're sealed, which I welded them over several times, ground them down and welded them again, if they're sealed, I should be ready to put brake fluid in the master cylinder. I'm not gonna do that right now because it's about 3:30 and I'm cold and I'm hungry and I need to get on back to the house. Have got the adjustment piece. It provides a little bit of adjustability. It's basically it's literally just a 1/4-20 bolt welded around the head of it, granted flat, and I'm in the process of drilling a hole through it, but I cannot find my decent drill bits and I don't have anything to put one through it, so I have to finish that later on. But where it's going is right in that left hole right there, and it'll be connecting to this rod. I've been scrounging some exhaust parts. What I want to do with that is take this muffler from the Versus. It's a glass pack. It's a rebuildable glass pack, and I just want to run the exhaust from here through the fender, and I want to let the muffler stick out right here. So hole in here, and the muffler will be contained and hidden underneath the fender. I think that'll be pretty cool, and it should sound pretty good. It'll be nice and deep. Big old 360cc thumper here. So yeah, that's it for today. Just a recap. I have no idea how you get the rear drums off. I gave up. Put them back on. They roll fine. They're not dragging, so I'm not going to mess with them. The front wheels are just kind of stuck on. They're rolling nice and free. Obviously, there's no parts in them. You know, technically I have what I need to go ahead and put the brakes together right now, including electricity finally. But like I said, duty calls. I gotta head back to the house. Check in later on. The weekend is young. All right, it's Sunday afternoon, about 2 o'clock. Ashby is down for a nap. Generator oil is changed. It's full of fuel. Basically, I ran out of excuses not to leave. So, oh, and I finally found all my drill bits. God, it's like it's being bombed with ice out here. Hey, kitty cat, get out of here, kitty cat. Get out, kitty. Good Lord have mercy. You gonna shut up in here? Well, I'm glad I came back. I'll leave the door open for you. Oops. Yeah. So I'm ready to assemble my throttle linkage here. Hey, kitty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Might work on my shelter a little bit, my garage. Yeah. Glass is okay, right? Yeah. That's all that matters. If the glass made it 55 years and then gets busted a few minutes before finishing an engine swap, I just don't know what I would do with that information. I'm off to the cab. Pardon the continued noise. That's all the trees losing their ice at the same time. I've got the brakes back disassembled. And it's time to dump a little fluid in the master and see if it'll come out both sides. And if it will, it's as simple as reassembling them and driving. So, nice. Got the good stuff here. A little wherever. Right with him? Yeah, wherever. Ha ha ha. I don't get it. I'm gonna flush these things later to get all the freaking ice cubes out of my reservoir here. Alright, that's full. It's been a long time since I filled that thing up, but I've done it lots and lots of times in my life. Top on, sort of. Let's start it. That'll be fine. Alright, I'm going to pump it. But it appears that the lines are plugged on both sides, and I know they're not completely plugged in this hose. As you can see, that there's a rubber hose down here between the cab and the frame, basically. And I had previously gotten fluid out of that. Having failed on the brakes, I thought I might play with the exhaust for a minute. This is where I want the outlet. Whoa. That didn't work out. Let me grab some.
space heater in feels a little odd. Also, my drill time. I really like to not run a drop cord out here. That would be my preferred afternoon. Not doing that. Come on, baby, you ready? All right, that's where my exhaust comes out. Nice. February 14th, Valentine's Day is always, it always seems like the peak of the winter. It always seems like if we're going to get a big snow, this is when we're going to get it. And while, you know, I'm sort of got a working title going for this truck of the Winter National, because there's literally been a winter storm and precipitation every time I've worked on this truck for the past 4 weekends. This is the worst by far. This is disgusting. This freezing rain is the worst. The roads are fine, no problem at all with the roads, but man, the trees are just snapping like twigs, because they are pine trees, because they, you know, because of the weight of the extra weight on the pine tags. And apparently we just haven't really had a winter for the last couple of years here, so it is what it is. But I'm happy that I got something done. It's not a complete waste. I've got stuff to order this week. I'm kind of at a standstill anyway. The next thing, the only thing besides diving into the exhaust, which I would love to do, but I don't have time right now. But the only thing that remains undone is pulling those lines off, which is going to be a little bit of a bear. Getting in there, I'm probably going to end up destroying everything and starting over. But hey, those are the brakes.